We will begin the press conference by Minister Hayashi. Minister, please go ahead. Thank you. Nothing at the top, so let us go to the Q&A. Those of you who have questions, please raise your hand, and when appointed, proceed to the microphone and identify yourself and your affiliation. Abe-san of Yomiuri Newspaper, please. Abe of Yomiuri, thank you very much. On Japan-ROK relationship. Most recently, President Yoon in his speech spoke about the Japan-ROK relationship and made positive comments. And last week, there was the DG level meeting in Tokyo. How do you view the development of Japan-ROK relationship going forward? How will it unfold? Thank you very much. Currently, Japan-Korea relationship is in grave difficulty due to such issues as the former civilian workers from the Korean Peninsula and the issue pertaining to comfort women. But at the foreign ministers meeting in July and August, we agreed on the early resolution of the issue over former civilian workers, and there has been close communication between the foreign affairs authorities. Last week on August the 26th, the DG level meeting was held where the Korean side explained to us their efforts, and our side conveyed to them our position, and we agreed to continue our communications on these matters. Regarding the comments made by President Yoon Suk-yeol on 15th of August and 17th of August, which is the 100th day since inauguration, generally speaking, we take it as a demonstration of President Yoon's strong will towards improvement of the bilateral relationship. We think it's positive. We welcome those comments. Japan and Korea are very important neighbors. We need to cooperate in responding to various global issues. And we take it that President Yoon demonstrated his similar views. And in light of the current strategic environment, there has never been a time where development of Japan-ROK or Japan-US-ROK relationship and cooperation is so important. And based upon the foundation of friendship and cooperation between our two countries that has been fostered since normalization of ties, we need to restore our relationship to a sound one and further develop our bilateral ties. And I am determined to keep close communication with President Yoon, Foreign Minister Park Jin, and members of the Korean government.
Kusakabe-san, Mainichi. Kusakabe of Mainichi Shimbun newspaper. Question about the Japan-China relationship. On the 29th, it will be the 50th anniversary of the diplomatic relationship normalization. There was the DG level talk. It was the 50th anniversary. How will you engage with China going forward? August 31st, indeed. There was an online DG talks on the 17th. Mr. Akiba, the Secretary General of the National Security Secretariat, and Mr. Yan Jechi, who is the Director of the Chinese Communist Party Foreign Affairs Commission, discussed with each other. We agreed about the importance of bilateral communication. Regarding the bilateral relationship, for the very reason because we are neighbors, depending on the situation of the time, there are some challenges. Even at this time, there are various concerns. The series of China's military activity, including August 4th launch of ballistic missile into the sea near Japan, including EEZ, and the attempt to change the status quo in the East and South China Seas, including the situation in Senkaku, and expansion and activation of military activities surrounding Japan. These are strong security concerns of the region, including Japan and the international community. Regarding our bilateral relationship, we must establish a constructive and stable Japan-China relationship in which what must be asserted will be asserted, ask for responsible conduct, and cooperate over common challenges by mutual effort. It is crucial to have a thoughtful, careful communication, all the more at this kind of timing and situation, and we are always open and ready to engage and talk with China.
Next question, Nobita-san of Asahi Newspapers, please. Nobita of Asahi Newspaper. I have a question on former Prime Minister Abe's State Council. Dignitaries will be visiting on that occasion from various countries. this will be a good opportunity for diplomatic efforts in the Japanese government. What is your notion, and how do you take the meaning of diplomacy on the occasion of his state funeral? Former Prime Minister Abe developed a foundation of Japan's diplomatic relationship, and we take over his legacy and will continue to put efforts into further strengthening of Japan-US alliance, partnership with like-minded nations including ASEAN and Europe, and the promotion towards the realization of a free and open Indo-Pacific in order to realize peace and prosperity in the global community. As you mentioned, on the occasion of the state funeral, many dignitaries will be visiting our country, and from the previous day to the next day after the state funeral, we will, to the extent possible, conduct intensive bilateral meetings at the summit leaders level and the foreign ministers level. We will take over the baton of the diplomatic legacy created by former Prime Minister Abe and further develop our ties with various countries.
Mr. Fukuda Kyodo, I have two questions. The first point is the confirmation regarding Japan-China relationship. You mentioned about the thoughtful communication is required. Thoughtful and careful discussion is required. At the United Nations, Mr. Wan, there is a likelihood that you will meet with Wan Yi. If you meet, do you intend to have such a thoughtful communication? And the second point is regarding the information war. In terms of the budget request, it has been included, but in terms of foreign ministry, what will you do in terms of the information warfare? Regarding the first point, as was discussed earlier, constructive and stable Japan-China relationship must be established by mutual effort. For that purpose, there must be careful and thoughtful communication, and we are always ready to talk and engage with China. Regarding the leaders' meeting or a possible meeting of myself and Mr. Wan Yi, at this moment, nothing has been decided, but dialogues at all levels are important. So what has to be asserted will be asserted, and we will think about specific opportunities. About the disinformation countermeasures, detection, analysis to response, there must be a series of cycle in terms of response to such disinformation. The regions or the areas that could be the target are so extensive, and therefore there must be a cross-department and the whole of ministry response, including the intelligence, information, policy, and public relations divisions and departments. In order to further reinforce such efforts, we have made our budget request for fiscal 2023.
Next question. This will be the last question. Abe-san of Yomiuri. Abe of Yomiuri. Again, about Japan-ROK relationship, where I asked previously. The Korea-Japan Forum was held most recently, and early summit meeting was incorporated into the joint communique. It will be related to my first question, but what's your thoughts on the summit level meeting between our two countries? To restore the relationship to a sound one and to further develop our bilateral ties is what we need to do, as I mentioned previously. And to improve our relationship, I'm determined to keep in close contact with the members of the Korean government, including President Yoon and Foreign Minister Park. But nothing has been decided with regards to any specific meetings. This will be the end of the press conference. Thank you.